No one was prepared for this one, and trust me, you're going to want to sit back and watch this clip until the very end to see what's really going on. Cardi B, yes, the Cardi B, just admitted one of her wildest fantasies. And let's just say, it has the internet clutching their pearls. What she revealed wasn't just spicy, it was explosive. And it's already sparking waves of reactions across social media.
What's a kink or fantasy you've never admitted publicly?
Shit, I think I've done them all. I would like, in a threesome, to have a really pretty faced girl that I really like, and we both sucking dick together, but like not just like my turn, your turn, my turn, your turn, like making out, clashing on it.
And I love that you specified like really pretty face. What, because you're gonna have to look at her? Or are you keeping your eyes open or closed?
If I like her a lot. I mean, you know, it's really passionate when you make out with girls. Or not when you make out, period. I'm very passionate. Like, I like to make love. So I'm just not like, it's like, oh, you jerk it and suck it, I jerk it and suck it. You jerk it and suck it, I jerk it and suck it. No, it's just like a clash.
You're coming together to make something beautiful.
Yeah.
So here's what went down. During a recent conversation, Cardi B casually dropped a bombshell. She admitted that her fantasy is to have a threesome with a pretty girl, describing the experience as making out, clashing on it, words that instantly set the internet ablaze. Now let's pause here, because when Cardi talks, people listen. And when she shares intimate details like this, it doesn't just stay in one corner of the internet, it dominates every platform from X to TikTok. But here's where things get really interesting. Some fans immediately fired back with their own commentary. They suggested that if Cardi wanted a pretty girl for her fantasy, she might as well pick one of Stefon Diggs' baby mamas, who, according to fans, fit the description perfectly. Imagine the chaos if that ever happened. The internet started spiraling, throwing names and theories into the mix, while others laughed it off, saying, "That's a level of drama we're not ready for." And let's be clear, Cardi wasn't saying this to stir up drama with Stefon Diggs or his past relationships. In fact, she doubled back and clarified, "I know, right? My boyfriend knows the best. But I am not doing that, it was just a fantasy." She wanted to make it clear that this was just her being candid about her thoughts, not something she actually plans on doing in real life. Still, you already know the blogs and gossip pages ran with it. What's fascinating about this moment is how it shows Cardi B's raw honesty. We've seen her unfiltered personality for years, but every now and then she says something that instantly becomes headline material. And this time it wasn't about Offset, it wasn't about industry beef, and it wasn't about her new music. It was about her most private desires, which she boldly chose to make public. But here's the twist. While some fans were shocked, others weren't surprised at all. Many pointed out that Cardi has always been open about her sexuality, her fantasies, and her comfort with topics that most people would shy away from. To them, this was just Cardi being Cardi, saying out loud what so many others keep behind closed doors. And you know what? That's exactly why her fans love her. Because in a world where celebrities often hide behind carefully curated images, Cardi drops the filter and shows her authentic self. Whether people like it or not, she doesn't care. She'll tell you what's on her mind, even if it makes the world gasp. But of course, when you're Cardi B, nothing you say goes unnoticed, especially when it involves your boyfriend, your family, or your personal life. Fans are now debating, was this just a harmless comment? Or did Cardi accidentally reveal more than she should have? Did she underestimate how quickly the internet would spin her words into something bigger than life? And that's the million-dollar question, because the drama doesn't stop here. This is just the beginning of the storm. The reactions from fans, the shade from haters, and even the whispers about what Stefon Diggs really thinks about all this. It's all coming up. Now let's get into the part that really lit the match under this fire: the fans. Because as soon as Cardi's confession hit the air, social media turned into a circus. TikTok was flooded with reaction videos. Facebook groups were debating if she crossed the line. And on X, formerly Twitter, The memes and shady comments came in fast. The most viral fan reaction came from a TikTok user who stitched Cardi's clip and said, "Sis, if you're gonna talk about threesomes, at least call up one of Stefon Diggs' baby mamas. They already look the part." That one comment alone spiraled into thousands of shares, likes, and duets. Suddenly, Stefon Diggs, who had absolutely nothing to do with this situation, was trending. And let's be real, the internet loves dragging athletes into celebrity drama. The second Stefon's name came up, fans were pulling out old pictures of his exes, posting side-by-side comparisons, and asking, "Is this what Cardi was hinting at?" Even though she never said his name, the audience didn't need permission to make that connection. The blogs, of course, ate it up. Gossip Instagrams started posting captions like, "Cardi B says her fantasy is with a pretty girl. Fans think she should choose one of Stefon Diggs' baby mamas. What do you think?" Suddenly, it wasn't just a fantasy. It was a public poll on who Cardi should pick, and that's when the narrative shifted from funny to messy. Meanwhile, fans were also debating whether this was just classic Cardi being unfiltered, or if she knew exactly what she was doing. Some argued that Cardi is a marketing genius. Every time she's about to drop new music or push her name back into the spotlight, she gives people something to talk about. And this fantasy confession, it was the perfect bait. But here's where it gets complicated. Offset's name started creeping into the comments. People were saying, "What does her man think about all this?" Others reminded everyone that Cardi made it clear. Offset already knows and he understands. That detail is huge, because it shows Cardi wasn't hiding this from her relationship. She was open, transparent, and maybe even testing how the public would react. Still, let's not pretend the internet is always understanding. Some fans dragged her, saying she should keep certain fantasies private. They accused her of oversharing, of chasing shock value, and of trying too hard to stay relevant. But for every critic, there were twice as many supporters saying, "At least she's real. At least she's not fake like half the industry." And you know what? That right there is the Cardi B effect. No matter what she says, people are going to talk. Whether it's praise or backlash, she dominates the conversation. And when her name is trending, it doesn't just stay in music. It bleeds into sports, culture, and celebrity gossip. That's why Stefon Diggs' name is now tied to this fantasy scandal, even though he never signed up for it. The bigger question is, was this just an innocent reveal of a personal thought? Or was it Cardi once again setting the stage for something larger? Because history tells us, every time Cardi opens up like this, there's always a ripple effect. Something always follows. And the fans are convinced this fantasy was no accident. But here's the kicker. The drama doesn't stop with Stefon Diggs and Offset. Because now, celebrities and influencers are starting to chime in. And when that happens, things go from messy to explosive. In the next part, we'll break down which celebs are throwing shade, which ones are defending Cardi, and how this harmless fantasy suddenly became one of the most talked about scandals of the year. Stay locked in, because what comes next will leave you wondering if Cardi just opened a door she can't close. The internet was already in flames, but things took an even sharper turn when celebrities and influencers decided to join the conversation. Because if you know anything about Hollywood, you know the stars love inserting themselves into Cardi B's drama, whether they're Team Cardi, Team Nicki, or just here for the mess. One of the first public figures to speak up was none other than a popular Instagram comedian who posted a skit pretending to be Offset, pacing back and forth in the kitchen like, "So babe, you out here talking about threesomes with a pretty girl? Where's she at then?" The video went viral overnight, sparking debates over whether Offset was secretly uncomfortable or if he really is as secure as Cardi claims. Then came the rappers. Some female rappers shaded Cardi without naming her directly, posting cryptic tweets like, "Not every thought needs to be shared with the public. Some fantasies should stay in your head." Fans immediately speculated that these tweets were aimed at Cardi, especially since the rap game is always buzzing with subliminals. But here's the twist. Not all the shade came from rivals. A surprising name entered the chat, one of Stefon Diggs' exes. Yes, you heard that right. While she didn't confirm or deny the fan suggestions, she posted a selfie with the caption, Pretty enough? Accompanied by a smirk emoji. That single post sent fans into a frenzy, interpreting it as a playful response to Cardi's fantasy. Suddenly, what was once a random fan theory turned into a storyline that had receipts. Meanwhile, blogs like The Shade Room and Hollywood Unlocked were stirring the pot with polls asking followers, should Cardi pick one of Stefon's baby mamas, yes or no? The comment sections were chaos, with fans debating whether this was fun and games or an unnecessary mess that dragged innocent people into Cardi's personal fantasies. At the same time, Cardi's loyal fan base, the Barty Gang, came to her defense. They argued that everyone else was blowing things out of proportion, twisting a harmless confession into a scandal. They reminded critics that Cardi herself clarified it was just a fantasy and not something she planned to act on. But by then, the wildfire had already spread. And let's not forget the media's role. Mainstream outlets jumped on the story with headlines like, Cardi B confesses her fantasy and fans react, and did Cardi B just involve Stefon Diggs in her private life? What was once a fleeting comment now had the weight of a full-blown cultural moment. But here's where things get even more interesting. Industry insiders started whispering that Cardi's confession wasn't just random, it might have been strategic. Because in today's music game, attention equals streams. The more people are talking, the more likely they are to check out her latest single, her album, or her upcoming projects. Could this have been the ultimate marketing move disguised as a vulnerable confession? If that's the case, it worked. Because not only did Cardi trend on TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter, but Stefon Diggs also trended, and even his team's official fan pages had to step in, telling people to leave football out of the drama. The more this unfolded, the more it became clear. This was bigger than just a fantasy. It became a test of how much Cardi could push the envelope, how far the media would run with it, and whether fans would continue to defend her raw honesty or turn against her for oversharing. But hold on, because we're not done yet. Coming up next, we're going to explore the deeper layers of this scandal. From the cultural double standards Cardi is facing, to the way women in hip-hop are policed when they open up about their sexuality. And let me tell you, this is where things take a sharp, thought-provoking twist that will leave you questioning if Cardi was ever the problem at all. Now here's where this story takes a deeper turn. Because while many people were laughing, joking, and reposting memes about Cardi B's fantasy, others started asking, why is it that when Cardi expresses her sexuality, she gets dragged through the mud, but when men in hip-hop brag about fantasies, cheating, or wild experiences, it's celebrated as part of the culture? Think about it. Rappers have been talking about groupies, threesomes, and every kind of explicit scenario you can imagine for decades. Nobody blinks an eye. In fact, those same lyrics often get praised as real, raw, and authentic. But when Cardi B, a woman, admits to having a fantasy, suddenly the internet is in chaos. Suddenly it's headlines, think pieces, and endless criticism about her being too much. And this isn't new. Cardi has faced this kind of double standard throughout her career. Remember the backlash when WAP dropped? Male rappers had been talking about explicit content for years, but when Cardi and Megan owned their sexuality in one song, it sparked outrage. Once again, the same pattern is playing out. Even deeper than that, some fans pointed out that Cardi wasn't just sharing for attention, but rather being brutally honest in the way she always has. Cardi has never been the type to censor herself to fit in with industry expectations. Love her or hate her, that's what makes her one of the most authentic figures in music today. But critics weren't convinced. Some argued that Cardi was oversharing, that as a mother and public figure, she had a responsibility to be classier. Others took it a step further, saying she was embarrassing herself and her relationship with Stefon Diggs by admitting to such fantasies in public. And once again, we see that policing of women, telling them what they can and cannot say about their bodies, their desires, their lives. On the flip side, her supporters clapped back with passion. They pointed out that Cardi has always been transparent with her fans, from her struggles with depression, to her career highs, to her personal relationships. They argued that this honesty is what keeps her fan base loyal, because Cardi never pretends to be someone she's not. Meanwhile, the fan wars escalated. Nicki Minaj's fan base, the Barbs, couldn't resist jumping into the mess. They flooded Twitter with sarcastic comments like, "Imagine your fave out here fantasizing about baby mamas while Nicki's out here making history." And just like that, what started as Cardi's personal confession turned into another battlefield in the never-ending Nicki versus Cardi war. TikTok became the epicenter of the debate. On one side, creators defended Cardi, saying she was simply being real and that fantasies don't define a person's morals. On the other side, videos went viral mocking Cardi's statement, with captions like, "Cardi B after one glass of wine." The divide was loud, clear, and brutally entertaining. And let's not forget Stefon Diggs. His name was dragged into this storm, whether he wanted it or not. Some fans argued that Cardi disrespected him by even bringing this up. Others said he should be proud that his girlfriend is confident enough to share what's on her mind. Either way, the football star found himself trending for reasons that had nothing to do with the NFL. So here's the bigger question. Was this all a harmless overshare from Cardi B? Or did it reveal the deeper hypocrisy of how society treats women in hip-hop? Was she unfairly criticized because of her gender, her past, and her reputation for controversy? Or was this simply a case of Cardi leaning too far into the spotlight and giving her critics the ammunition they were waiting for? And now we've reached the part everyone's been waiting for. The aftermath. Because after the laughter, the memes, the fan wars, and the TikTok debates, the question still remains. What does this mean for Cardi B moving forward? First, let's talk about her career. Cardi's album, I Am the Drama, is already one of the most talked about projects of the year. Every song sparks headlines. Every lyric is dissected, and every public statement she makes becomes viral content. And while critics may say she went too far this time, others argue that this is exactly what keeps her relevant. Cardi thrives in chaos. She makes headlines when others play it safe. That's her brand, and it works. But then, there's the personal side. Cardi herself admitted that the fantasy wasn't something she was acting on. It was just a playful, off-the-cuff thought. Yet, people twisted it into a scandal that put her relationship with Stefon Diggs under the microscope. Fans speculated about his reaction, asking, was he offended? Was he laughing? Or was he silently annoyed that his name was being dragged into something so wild? For now, Stefon has stayed quiet, but silence doesn't always mean peace. Then there's the public image. Cardi is no stranger to controversy, but every new scandal adds another layer to how the public perceives her. Some fans love her rawness, her transparency, and her refusal to sugarcoat anything. Others think she's reckless and unfiltered to the point of damaging her own reputation. And this fantasy confession has become another dividing line. Love her or hate her, everyone is talking about her. But here's the plot twist nobody saw coming. Some experts are saying this might not hurt Cardi at all. In fact, it could help her. Why? Because Cardi has built her empire not by being polished and perfect, but by being messy, real, and unpredictable. That unpredictability is what keeps her at the center of pop culture. Every time critics think she's crossed the line, her fan base rallies even harder, and the cycle continues. Meanwhile, her rivals in the industry are watching closely. Nicki Minaj's fan base, Megan Thee Stallion's fan base, and countless others, they're ready to use this moment against her. But Cardi isn't backing down. She's leaning into the drama, reminding everyone that she named her album I Am the Drama for a reason. So will this moment be remembered as one of Cardi's biggest missteps? Or one of her most brilliant plays? Only time will tell. But one thing is certain. Cardi B knows how to keep the world watching. Even a casual, offhand confession about a fantasy turned into a week-long cultural event. That's power. That's influence. And that's why, whether you like her or not, Cardi B remains one of the most fascinating figures in the music industry today. And let me leave you with this final thought. If a single fantasy confession can break the internet like this, what will Cardi say or do next? If history has shown us anything, it's that with Cardi B, the drama is never truly over. So buckle up, because the next headline is only a matter of time.